Today, we are in Jerusalem and we're going to walk to the Pool of Bethesda. Yes, that's right. This is where Jesus healed the paralytic man. And in a moment, we're just going to go down those steps in the end, as you can see, and we're going to see the remains of what is believed to be the very pool with the famous steps that, like people 2,000 years ago, would have taken down to go to the water to get healed. Now, you might have heard about this miracle. It's recorded in the New Testament where it says that there was a feast of the Jews and Jesus went up to Jerusalem and he comes to this pool that is called Bethesda and it's located by Sheep's Gate. Now, just for reference, here's where the Sheep's Gate is believed to be, and here's where we are. And so, according to the scriptures, this pool had these amazing waters that at certain times they would get stirred up and the people with disease rush into the waters and get healed. But then there was this certain man who was a paralytic for 38 years. And whenever the waters got stirred up and they were ready for healing, all the people would rush in and he would always miss his opportunity. He's a paralytic, he couldn't walk, and that was kind of his life of misery. But then Jesus comes and heals this man without any waters, just by faith. So this man gets healed instantaneously, he gets up and walks. It's an amazing miracle, and to the best of our knowledge, this is the place that we're at right now. This is where it's happened. Now, it doesn't mean we know for a fact that this is 100% is the spot, but it's a really promising candidate, and you'll see soon why. This place wasn't even found until 19th century. In fact, there was no clear archaeological evidence of Bethesda even existing until the 19th century when Conrad Schick, a really awesome German archaeologist who was also an architect and a Protestant missionary in the 1800s. And he's done a lot of archaeological work in Jerusalem. You can actually go to Christ Church and see some of the 3D models he designed of the Temple Mount. We've actually got this filmed already, but we're saving it for another really cool episode in the future. Anyway, Conrad was digging and found a large tank, which he thought must be the Pool of Bethesda. By the way, Bethesda in Hebrew is Beit Hesda. It's actually two words and they mean the house of mercy. Just think about this. It gives a whole deeper meaning to the miracle Jesus performed with the paralytic. In the house of mercy. That's really cool. Anyway, so after Conrad discovered it, about 100 years after, in 1964, more archaeological work was done here, and they found lots of different layers of ruins. Crusader churches, Byzantine, Hadrian's temple, healing pools of Asclepius, and when you look at this place, it's all kind of mixed up because everything built on top of each other. So it's really hard to tell what you are seeing here without a tour guide. Here's a little confession. Even while we are walking here right now, it's kind of hard to see. We were a bit confused ourselves, and it wasn't until later when we reviewed the footage we were able to confirm and identify each of these structures and what we actually saw there. Some of you might think, why are you even guys going to a place without making a proper research beforehand? But to be honest, there's benefit to both approaches. When you study and visit a site and you kind of know everything about it, it is great. You go there, you know exactly what you're looking at. But then there's the other approach where you go into a place as if you're there for the first time, as if you're the first one to discover it, kind of like in the footsteps of Conrad Schick, who first discovered and he had to reason through, what is this?
What do you think?
So this was the place where all the sick would come to get into the pool.
Yeah, remember the deep steps to go down?
And I remember they had like some water down there a little bit.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Let's go examine it.
Oh, so you guys
It's not that bad.
should wake up like physically now. Naturally,
Right.
biologically.
When you're there, there's something really rewarding and really special about it. You're going in there and you're thinking, could this be it? And even if you're wrong, you later find out you're wrong and you're gonna be corrected, but your mind is more engaged. It's kind of it's a really cool exercise.
Down there.
Roman cistern.
And if you think about it, also, there's a lot of examples where archaeologists and historians made mistakes.
We'll need to do some research.
So coming to a place and having zero knowledge, no presuppositions, no biases, is really a cool thing to do from time to time. Kind of like reading the Bible. You can read the Bible through a lens of another interpreter and theologian, or you can just pick up the Bible and start reading it and see what you can understand.
Whoa. That is cool. Hey, you can actually go down.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what we're doing here today. We came here without much knowledge, with no presuppositions, no biases, just pure exploration. And it was so awesome to do. By the way, this is Jeremy and Jocelyn. They've been with us on the past few videos while we explore Jerusalem. They are very dear friends and a brother and sister in Christ. And I don't know if you've caught it in the previous video, but they also do videos and they're also bloggers. They have an amazing website. If you like food, we highly recommend to check out their website, insidebrewcrewlife.com. You can also find the link in the description of this video below.
CE is 80.
So,
Ow!
First century. Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I just scratched it. Not
So
good.
it says Northern Pool, first century.
So yeah, I wonder if it all was.
So I'm not sure why it actually says 1st century there, because the dating of the site goes way farther than that. In fact, the Northern Pool is believed to have been built in the 8th century BC, about the time of the first temple. And they know this because of the dam that was constructed there. And the Old Testament does mention an upper pool in the city of Jerusalem, which this could be it. This could be the upper pool, and the lower pool would probably be the Siloam pool. Anyway, so this place, if you look from the top, would have two pools. The northern pool, believed to have been built in the 8th century BC, and the southern pool, believed to have been built later on, more towards like 3rd century BC. And this is interesting because until this site was found, some suggested that they count in the book of John, where it says the pool had 5 porches, or another translation, 5 colonnades, was either a mistake in the Gospel of John or a literally form of writing about this place. And that's because until this place was excavated, people used to think that the Pool of Bethesda was actually somewhere else. They thought it was the other pool, the one closer, that sits right by the Sheep's Gate. Yes, there's another pool, well, was another pool. It was only like 50 yards away from where we are right now. And this pool was called Birket Bani Israel. That's Arabic for the Pool of Sons of Israel. And people thought this was the Pool of Bethesda. And here's the proof of it. You can see here a drawing from 1804 made by an Italian-German artist, Luigi Meyer, and this pool, in this drawing, named Pool of Bethesda. But you can't see this pool today because in 1930s it was posing public health threats due to trash buildup, so they filled it with earth and then eventually got converted into a parking lot in the 80s. But the problem with this pool, the Birket Bani Israel, is that it was a simple rectangle. So there was no way to put 5 porticos or 5 colonnades on it, as the Book of John describes. And so the assumption was that the Book of John might have a scribal error or just a poetic way to describe something. But when they excavated this new site where we are at today, they realized that there really were 5 porticos or 5 colonnades. And that is really amazing because A, that kind of shows that, again, scripture is correct. And B, we might be walking at the very place where Jesus has performed the miracle.
You know what was cool? You missed it, but the group that was standing there, they were praying for a woman for healing, and it was a very nice prayer in English. I thought that was really neat.
So right now we're actually walking in between the two pools, the northern pool and the southern pool. And while originally this was a portico, later in time, Byzantines built their church, and on top of that, the Crusader built their own church, also called the Church of the Paralytic. And later, after the conquest of Saladin, it is believed it was transformed into a Shafiq, an Islamic law school. But as we come out of these ruins, we get to the most interesting spot in the entire site, the southern basin.
Don't you want to just go down there and start digging?
Look at the wall in that. Look at those layers.
That's amazing.
And down there, that's like an older wall, because look at all the rocks, how they are layered on top of each other. Now then, the original pool should be down there. There's the plaster.
Whoa.
Basin, southern pool, 1st century.
Wow.
So that would be it.
Look at the wall goes all the way down there.
Yep.
At first it was really hard to believe that this pool is so huge, but archaeologists confirm it. Both pools were about 131 on 55 yards, while the depth of it was 49 feet. I'm not sure how they got to that, because when I measure the length of it, it only comes up 32 meters, which would be just about 35 yards long. Yeah, this doesn't make sense, does it? We're not making this up. I mean, if you look online, everybody says it's 131 yards long. Where are they taking this number from? Because what we see here today is like 4 times smaller than that. Okay, so it finally made sense out of all of it. We found this article written by Urban C. van Waldi, where he explains that the original pools were much, much larger. What we see here today is only a fraction that's been excavated. And the reason why we can't go and excavate farther is because those sections are under people's houses. That means we only can see a fraction of the pools, and they are much bigger. But now that we know its location, it would have stretched all the way from here to here, which is exactly 130 yards. And this also explains why where Rhoda and I were standing right here, we could see plaster on this wall, but not on this. This wall doesn't have plaster because the pool goes all the way here. It continues. So the plaster is only going to be on these edges and somewhere under this building.
That's, if whenever we see plaster, it means there was water here. And we see ancient walls.
So now that we know the history checks out, and this is the most likely candidate, it is amazing to still see the stairs. This would be the stairs of the southern basin of the Bethesda Pool, where some archaeologists are now also saying that this could have been a mikveh, served as a mikveh too, because there was a northern basin, received the water from the springs, and then the southern basin would also serve as a mikveh. It is so cool to now visualize Jesus coming to this place and healing the paralytic.
I wonder if that was... There's a cat!
What is there?
You gotta come here. They're feeding.
What is it?
Oh, yeah. They're down there. Oh.
Who is this?
Kitty.
A kitty? With
Oh,
who?
mama cat with babies. Look.
Into the right.
This is a whole litter. How many are there? So cute. Look at that.
Oh, she saw you.
That's it. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of Bethesda as much as we have. And until next time, may God bless you. And as always,
The best is yet to come.